Now let's talk about what you think is the biggest threat to your province right now.
The biggest threat is this NDP Liberal coalition in Ottawa, and an ideological prime minister who is who has a very hard time understanding that he cannot just issue edicts and have them happen in the real world. We live in a world where we have to have policy that makes sense. And I can tell you, because we did pass the Alberta Sovereignty within a United Canada Act. The Eastern media didn't seem to like it that much, but we felt it was important to educate our federal counterparts about how our country is supposed to work. We are not a unitary state. We do not pass our laws in our province with the consent of Justin Trudeau. We pass them with the consent of the King. We have a direct sovereign relationship with the monarch, and there's a reason for that. It's because when we were established as a country, we decided that there's certain powers that belong to the federal government, and there's certain powers that belong to the provincial government. It's true. So you won't see me saying, gee, I'm going to create my own currency. You don't see me saying, oh, I'm going to set up passport offices, although I'm pretty sure I do a better job of managing that. Or taking over the management of the airports for all of you who've had the misery of going through Pearson. Because it would be absurd, wouldn't it? It'd be absurd for a provincial premier to dare to think that she could step in and take over federal power. It's equally absurd for the federal government to think that they can come in and tell our province how to manage our resources and how to manage our electricity and whether we should be able to build highways and whether we should be able to build power plants. That's what their Bill C-69 did. That's what this new environmental approval process has done. It's not just about interprovincial pipelines, which I recognize as federal jurisdiction. They're controlling all of the development within the borders of every province. This is why 8 provinces are on board with us in arguing against it in the Supreme Court this week. And so this is very existential for us, because I can tell you what they want to do next. Having put that legislation in place and asserted that they have the power to pass pretty well whatever they want, they now want to put a cap on emissions on our oil and natural gas sector to reduce emissions 42% by 2030. That's 7 years from now. I can tell you it is impossible. That cannot happen without shutting in production. An emissions cap like that is a production cap, and it's a violation of our Constitution. They've talked about putting a cap on emissions for fertilizer, reducing that by 30% by 2030. That would reduce food production at a time that we've got a global food security crisis. And they also want to prevent us from putting more natural gas on our power grid. We're a natural gas basin in Alberta. It makes sense for us to heat our homes with natural gas. It makes sense for us to have gas stoves. It makes sense for us to have electricity that is powered by natural gas, and 90% of it is. The federal government wants to stop us from doing that. We had grid instability this winter. And the reason we had grid instability this winter is because everybody has been so enthusiastic about building out solar and wind. We've got 5,000 megawatts of installed solar and wind power. And on 2 days in Alberta, it was producing 100 megawatts of electricity. We can't keep on doing this. You can't build out that amount of capacity if it's only going to be operating at a fraction of what you need when you need it most. So that's what the federal government's vision is for Alberta, is that we're going to be operating on unreliable energy that is increasingly unaffordable. And that is crushing to our economy. So when you ask what the biggest threat is, it's the clean electricity regs, it's the emissions caps that we might see on fertilizer and oil and natural gas. And we're in deep conversation with the federal government so that they know our position. And I should say that it's not because we're operating in opposition to this long-term aspiration of carbon neutrality by 2050. We just think we can reach carbon neutrality a different way. If we export our LNG, that reduces emissions of more polluting fuels elsewhere. And that's one way that we think we would be able to reduce our emissions. We believe carbon capture, utilization, and storage will ultimately help us to capture and bury or embed it into useful products. We believe that we will be able to use natural gas as a precursor to potentially a hydrogen economy at some point. We've got hydrogen construction happening in our province. Geothermal is also a potential. Small modular nuclear is going to come on stream in Ontario and New Brunswick. I'm watching that with great interest. I'd love to see that. So those are the things that make sense for our economy, and those are the things we could work constructively with the federal government on. But when you have an ideological government that wants to achieve unrealistic targets as quickly as they do, it's just, we're on a collision course. And so you're going to see the first of that in the courts this week. But we're really hoping that we're able to convince them to back off.